The gymnasium doors slammed open with a metallic crash that echoed through the crystalline walls. Every tentacle, antenna, and eye stalk in the room swiveled toward the entrance. In walked the human, tall, confident, and utterly out of place among the rainbow of alien species. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. "That's a Deathworlder," Zix whispered through his breathing slits, his blue skin paling to an alarming shade of gray. "We're all going to die." Coach Forthan, a six-armed Meldorian who'd won 3 intergalactic fitness championships, felt his primary heart skip a beat. In his 40 cycles of teaching, he'd never had a human in his class. He'd heard the stories, of course. Everyone had. Humans came from Earth, a planet so hostile that its inhabitants had evolved to survive asteroid impacts, volcanic eruptions, and creatures that hunted in packs. They called it a Class 12 Death World, the highest rating on the galactic danger scale. The other students huddled together like frightened prey animals. There was Quilix, whose gelatinous body quivered with each nervous thought. The twin Etherian sisters floated higher, their translucent wings creating distance between themselves and the newcomer. Even Brax, the usually boastful Gorvanian athlete who stood 8 feet tall on his 4 legs, took an involuntary step backward. The human stopped in the center of the gym, seemingly oblivious to the terror he'd caused. He wore simple gray shorts and a shirt that read "No pain, no gain," a phrase that made several students whimper. His name tag said Jake Martinez, exchange student, Earth. Hey everyone," Jake said, offering what humans called a smile, a baring of teeth that made Quilix lose his form entirely, splashing into a puddle on the floor. "Ready for gym class?" Coach Forthan cleared his throat, all 6 arms fidgeting with his whistle. "Welcome, Jake. Perhaps you should observe today? Get familiar with our safety protocols." Jake shrugged, a gesture that somehow managed to look both casual and predatory. "Nah, I'm good. What are we doing today? Please tell me it's not just floating in 0G again. I need a real workout." "Real workout?" Zix's voice cracked. "But the gravity here is only 0.7 standard." "Exactly," Jake said, bouncing on his toes. The floor shook slightly. "Back home, I train in 1.0. This feels like I could fly." The Etherian sisters, who actually could fly, exchanged worried glances. Coach Forthan consulted his holographic lesson plan with trembling claws. "Today we're doing obstacle course training. Level 3 difficulty." "Sweet." Jake clapped his hands together, producing a sound like thunder that made half the class flinch. "I love obstacle courses. We used to do them in the Australian outback. You know, dodging snakes, jumping crocodile streams, that kind of thing." "Crocodile streams?" Brax's 4 eyes widened. "You mean predators just exist? In your training areas?" Jake laughed. "Training areas? Nah, that's just Tuesday in Australia. Everything there tries to kill you. Builds character." Without waiting for permission, Jake jogged toward the obstacle course. The alien students parted like water, giving him a 10-foot radius of space. The course consisted of floating platforms, rotating barriers, and energy fields designed to test agility and coordination. "The record is 43 seconds, Coach Vorthan called out weakly. Set by a Velocitian sprinter." Jake studied the course for exactly 3 seconds. Then he moved. The first platform was 6 feet off the ground. Jake didn't use the provided anti-grav assist. He simply jumped, his Earth-evolved muscles launching him like he'd been shot from a cannon. He caught the edge and swung himself up in one fluid motion. "By the 7 moons," Quilix whispered, having finally reformed himself. He didn't even use the ladder. The rotating barriers came next. Most students carefully timed their passage. Jake? He grabbed one mid-spin, used its momentum to fling himself to the next platform, and kept moving like the laws of physics were more like suggestions. When he reached the energy field section, designed to test pain tolerance at low settings, Jake didn't slow down. He charged through, the field crackling against his skin. "Feels like a mild sunburn," he called out cheerfully. "We have worse UV radiation at the beach." The Etherian sisters nearly fainted. Their species couldn't survive more than 10 minutes in standard starlight. Jake finished the course in 19 seconds, not even breathing hard. He jogged back to the stunned group, that terrifying smile still on his face. "That was fun. What's next?" "How?" Coach Vorthan's voice failed him. "How are you not exhausted?" "Oh, this." Jake stretched his arms overhead. "This is just a warm-up. On Earth, we do this stuff for fun. Ever heard of parkour? It's like this, but with concrete and no safety equipment." "No safety equipment?" The entire class spoke in unison, horror evident in their various vocal patterns. I'm just here to work out, Jake said with a shrug. What's the worst that could happen? Six raised a trembling tentacle. Death? Dismemberment? Cellular disruption? You guys have it easy, Jake laughed. Try running a marathon when everything around you wants to eat you. Or doing pull-ups during a thunderstorm. Now that's a workout. Coach Vorthen looked at his lesson plan, then at Jake, then back at his plan. Perhaps we should move on to the combat simulation? Combat? Jake's eyes lit up. Now you're talking. It's just light tag, the coach said quickly. Non-contact. Very safe. The alien students formed teams, carefully avoiding Jake. Finally, he stood alone. I'll take you all on, Jake offered. Make it fair. All of us, Brax sputtered. Against one Deathworlder? Don't worry, Jake said, stretching his legs. I'm not going to hurt anyone. Unless you challenge me to a game of real tag. Earth rules. Nobody asked what Earth rules were. Nobody wanted to know. The game began. 20 alien students with their various advantages. Flight, camouflage, multiple limbs against one human. It should have been a massacre. It was. Just not the way they expected. Jake moved like a predator, using techniques that seemed impossible. He ran up walls, slid under barriers, and somehow always knew where everyone was hiding. His reflexes, honed by millions of years of evolution on a world trying to kill his species, made him untouchable. How do you move like that? An exhausted Quilix gasped after being tagged for the third time. Jake helped him up. That's the thing about Deathworlders. We don't play by your rules. We make our own. What planet are you from? Brax demanded, all four legs shaking with exhaustion. Jake grinned. Earth. It's where survival is a full-time job. The game ended with Jake victorious, barely sweating while his opponents lay scattered across the gym like casualties of war. But something had changed. The fear in their eyes had been replaced by awe. You're not what we expected, Zix admitted. Yeah, I get that a lot, Jake said. You guys aren't so bad either. Next week, want me to teach you some Earth games? Soccer is pretty fun. Full contact version, of course. The entire class paled again, but Coach Vorthen surprised everyone by laughing, a sound like grinding gears. I think, the coach said slowly, gym class just got a lot more interesting. As Jake left the gym, whistling something he called heavy metal, the alien students watched him go with a mixture of terror and fascination. They'd expected a monster. Instead, they'd found something far more unsettling. A being who treated death-defying acts like casual exercise and somehow made it look fun. The Deathworlder had come to gym class and nothing would ever be the same.